Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying why we are calling it point to point. So the reason is only one receiver can receive that message. Okay, no one else can receive that message. So analogy is, if I make you a phone call, then only you can hear my voice. Okay, and I can hear your voice. No one else can listen to it or can get that data. Okay, that's why it is called point to point. But second approach is PubSub or publish subscribe messaging system. So in that, what happens is one sender will be there that will be pushing the data to a queue, and from that queue, multiple receivers can receive that data. Okay. So that is the main difference between publish subscribe and point to point. And as you already know, this kind of mechanism is very rarely used nowadays. It is used only in very old systems where only there was single sender, single receiver. Nowadays, publish subscribe messaging system is being used, and Kafka is one of the examples of publish subscribe messaging system. Okay. Any doubt in this?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Now let's talk about Kafka. So as I said, Kafka is one of the majorly used or widely used and very reliable kind of messaging system, which is based on publish subscribe mechanism. Okay, so why generally we use Kafka? That is the big question. Why everyone is crying Kafka, Kafka, Kafka? So these are few reasons. So in big data, numerous volume of data is being used. Okay, so big data is a very common concept. Big data is nothing but when an application generates huge data. Huge means very huge in TBs. Okay, so this much of data whenever is generated by an application, and they want to store it somewhere, they want to analyze it somewhere, and they want to transmit that data to somewhere. In that scenario, we need some kind of messaging system which can handle this much of huge volume of data. Okay, and which can analyze that data. So these are the two reasons: how to collect large volume of data and how to analyze the collected data. These were the major two problems in the market. And to solve these two problems, Kafka came into picture. Okay. So if anyone asks you why Kafka is so much widely used, so these are the two critical reasons. Okay.
Okay.
Because there was initially no fast medium available to transmit the data, to store the data. Even if you were able to store the data, but that was very slow. Slow means it was very slow. It was taking so much of time. But with Kafka, you can write huge volume of data within seconds. Okay, and also you can analyze it. Suppose you have written one application, okay, and that application written in the sense you have created the software. That's what I mean. So you have created one application and that is generating a lot of data, huge volume of data, and you want to analyze when that data was produced. Okay, you want to plot a graph. Okay, you want to analyzing that data. You want to know what was the performance of my application. When was the data flow was high? When the data flow was low? Those kind of things you want to do. So that analysis, yeah. So that analysis can be done quickly using Kafka, because Kafka is really very fast. So these are the major reasons. Let's go ahead. Now, what is Kafka? So Apache Kafka. So first of all, Kafka was initially created by LinkedIn. Okay, we all know what is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a kind of professional platform, social media platform where a professional from different business, different industries, they can share their details with each other. They can get connected with each other, right? We know that. So LinkedIn was the the founder of Kafka. Okay. Initially, they created the Kafka for their application LinkedIn, and then what happened? And this happened in year 2011. Okay, and then what happened after creation of Kafka? Few developers, or you can say few software engineers of LinkedIn, they quit the job of LinkedIn and they created their own company, and the company name was Confluent. Okay. So like how you people started your business, right? Similarly, they created their company Confluent, and they also quit the company LinkedIn. So in 2011, Kafka was created by LinkedIn. In 2014, Confluent was created. Confluent company was created, and they after that they started enhancing the Kafka because they knew that it is going to be a big hit in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what is Kafka? Apache Kafka. So what happened after LinkedIn created it? After a few years, they open sourced it. So obviously, Apache Software Foundation is generally used whenever you want to do anything open sourcing, so that it is freely available. So in 2012, they open sourced it, and then it became Apache Kafka. Okay, so Apache Kafka is a distributed public subscribe messaging system. This line is pretty much clear. A robust queue that can handle high volume of data and enables you to pass messages from one point to another. This is also very clear. Now that robust, this word robust meaning, what is the meaning of robust? Robust means in any situation your data will be safe. Okay, if there is a hardware failure, software failure, you don't have to worry about, because Kafka gives you guarantee of 0% data loss. That's why we are calling it robust. Okay, there will not be any data loss. Also, your data will be very durable because it will be replicated everywhere on different machines, not only single machine. There will be more replicas of that data. That's why you will be easily able to recover the data in case of system failure. So that is the meaning of robust. And Kafka, third point is Kafka is very suitable for offline and online message consumption. So suppose your application is online, that time also you can use Kafka. If your application is not online, it is simply running in an intranet. Okay, internet means within the small world. So for that purpose also you can use Kafka. And last point is Kafka messages are persisted on the disk and replicated within the cluster to prevent any data loss. So this is also very much clear, I think, Jagdish, because it's nothing new to you, because you have been part of infra. So we know cluster is nothing but it's a collection of different systems. Those are connected through network, and they will be sharing the data between themselves. So basically, Kafka message will be always written to the disk. When we are saying that Kafka is writing the data into a queue, so queue is a logical thing. Internally, the data is always written into the files, and files are stored in the disk. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So the only benefit of cluster is in case of there is any disaster, we can recover the data.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next thing. Kafka features. So these are the features of Kafka, and these you have to always keep in your mind. Okay. Anyone asks you why we are using Kafka? Because see, we are learning Kafka now, but at the same time you have to prepare the questionnaires also what can be asked in the interview. So the very basic question can be asked: why only Kafka? Why we are not using anything else? So you should be ready for these questions. So first thing is reliability. As I said, Kafka is distributed, partitioned, replicated, and fault tolerance. So these are the features which makes Kafka very reliable. Distributed, I told you, right? There will be multiple systems which will be forming the cluster. That's why it is distributed. Partitioning, I'll explain you later, but just for the time being, just remember this word. Kafka is partitioned. Replicated, obviously the data will not be stored on a single system. There will be multiple replicas which will be stored in different machines. And it is fault tolerance, obviously, because if one machine is down, you can recover the data from another machine. So you don't have to worry about the failure. So that's why it is reliable. Second one is scalability. So Kafka can easily scale. Suppose, for example, I'll give you one live example. You are watching Hotstar, okay, and you are watching a cricket match or football match, okay, for example, and it's a peak time. Suppose World Cup, FIFA World Cup is going on, and you know the craze of football during FIFA World Cup. People watch football like anything. So obviously, the crowd will, the load on the Hotstar will increase during peak time. Okay, so if they don't scale, then Hotstar will be, crashed. You'll not be able to see the data. Okay, so they should be able to scale up, scale down. During peak hours, it should automatically scale. During idle time, it should automatically shrink. So that capability should be there. So that is called scalability. So Kafka has a very nice function of scalability. It can easily scale how much you want, and that scaling will happen horizontally. So more machines can be added, right? So that you can write the huge volume of data. So that is third point is durability. Kafka uses distributed commit logs, which means messages persist on disk as fast as possible. Hence, it is durable. So logs, Jagdish, what are logs? I think you might be familiar.
Yeah. Activities done day by day.
Yes.
Like hour, every hour.
Exactly. So logs are nothing but those are the messages which are written in some file, and those messages will clearly tell you what happens at particular time. Right? If some application is running, so each and every application in this real world, in the software world, they have some logs. Without logs, it is not possible to create any software, because any failures happens, anything wrong goes, you will first always check the logs, right? So you will first always check the logs, right? So similarly, Kafka also uses internally they use logs only. So these messages which we are pushing into the queue, those are nothing but the logs only. So Kafka works on the principle of logs. Whenever you push any messages to Kafka, it will be written to a log file. Whenever you read any messages from Kafka, ultimately those are coming from that log file. So that is what this point number 3 is saying. Kafka uses distributed commit log, which means messages persist on a disk as fast as possible. Okay, and those we know that those log files will be always stored on the hard disk. And those are written very fast. So that's why Kafka is very fast. You means 2 million writes in 1 second. You can imagine how fast Kafka is. Then last point is performance. Kafka has high throughput for both publishing and subscribing messages. So Kafka is very fast, as I told. Throughput in the sense how fast you can write data per second. That is the meaning of throughput. So when it comes to reading the data, when it comes to writing the data, it is very fast. So publishing, you understood, publishing means sending, subscribing means reading. These are the two terms of Kafka. So performance is very fast. It maintains stable performance. Even many TBs of messages are stored. Okay. So that is the performance. So Kafka is very fast and guarantees you zero downtime and zero data loss. This I think I already explain.
Yeah.
So these are the features of Kafka. You have to remember it. You should always keep these things in mind: reliability, scalability, durability, and
Yeah.
performance. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, what is the use cases of Kafka? Now, what are the situations where you can use Kafka? So, metrics. First point is metrics. Suppose your application is there and which is generating the data, and there are 5-6 applications which are generating the data, and you want to see uh, what is the uh, operational performance of those applications. So you need some kind of data uh, to be analyzed by someone, and then you can plot a graph, or you can see it in pictorial view, right? So that you can easily understand what is the performance of those applications. So that's how Kafka comes into picture. Whenever you want to data out of your application and you want to analyze that data, you want to create the metrics of that data, that is the one scenario when you can use Kafka. Okay. I give you my example. Like in my company, we have different applications, and we want every day my managers or my directors, they want to see how that application is performing. Is there any issue with that application or what? So what they do is there is a dashboard in our application. So they directly go to that dashboard. So what that dashboard does is it will fetch the data from the Kafka and it will plot a graph hourly basis. So they can easily see what happened during this time, what happened during midnight, what happened at 3 a.m. What happened during this time, what happened during midnight, what happened at 3 a.m. in the morning. So that is how we can prepare the metrics and easily see how the application is performing. So that is what I have written in the first point. Kafka is often used for operational monitoring data. This involves aggregating statistics from distributed applications to produce centralized feeds of operational data. Okay. Second one is log aggregation solution. Log aggregation solution means, as we just discussed, that each and every application produces some logs, and if you want to collect those logs, we want to aggregate those logs, then we need some mechanism so that we can easily combine all the logs from all the different applications and store it somewhere safely. So for that log aggregation also we can use Kafka. So that is the second use case. Third use case is stream processing. Stream processing means some data is coming, some huge volume of data is coming. You want to perform some operation on that data, and then again you can further send it to some other application. So that is called stream processing. So for that purpose also Kafka is used.
Kafka is also used as some transformation also it is used. Like ETL. It is also an ETL tool or just messaging tool?
Yeah, it is used for both. It is for processing, it is for transmission also. Okay.
So we can do some transmission also in Kafka.
Yes, definitely. How Hotstar is working. Hotstar works on Kafka only. How Netflix is working. You watch various live streaming also. So that is happening using Kafka only. Okay. So these are the use cases. Now, I'll just give you the brief of history of Kafka. So Kafka was originally developed at LinkedIn, I told you, and was subsequently open sourced in early 2011. So after the development of LinkedIn, they open sourced it. And then in November 2014, several engineers who worked on Kafka at LinkedIn created a new company called Confluent with a focus on Kafka. Okay. So, and then after the creation of Confluent, this guy, J. Krebs. Okay. So J. Krebs was initially in LinkedIn. He was the developer of LinkedIn. So they gave the name Kafka because Kafka is not a name or full form or some acronym. There is a German author who used to write novels. Okay, his name was Franz Kafka.
Okay.
So this guy, J. Krebs, he liked he was very famous author. So J. Krebs liked that author. He used to read books of this author, Franz Kafka. So he was very inspired from this author. So that's why he gave the name Kafka. That is the only reason. Kafka is a, you can say, surname of some person. You can say nothing else. So now J. Krebs was initially the employee of LinkedIn. Then he created his own company, and the company name is Confluent. He is now the CEO of Confluent. If you Google it, you will get the information about J. Krebs. Okay, so this is a brief history. If anyone asks you who has created Kafka, answer is LinkedIn. Which language is used to create the Kafka? So two languages are used, Java and Scala. Okay. These are the two languages using which Kafka is created, Java and Scala. Yeah, developed. Okay. Now, what are the various applications which are using Kafka? So these are the example: Twitter. Twitter also use Kafka. LinkedIn. LinkedIn obviously will use Kafka because it is the founder of Kafka. Netflix. Hotstar. Okay. What else? GeoCinema, if you have heard of it. GeoCinema also uses.
GeoCinema.
Yeah. That also uses like it is our product only. So we are working on GeoCinema. So
you're saying like most of the online streaming platforms use Kafka, right?
Exactly, Jagdish. Yes.
OTT.
Yes. All the OTT platform definitely 99% they will be using Kafka only. There is no other way. If Kafka is not there, then definitely those OTT platform will be slow, very slow. Because of Kafka only, they will give you HD quality. They are giving you speed. If Kafka is not there, then it is not possible. Right?
Even before some previously, if you need to change the language like from English to Tamil or to Hindi, it will take some time. Nowadays, it's very spontaneous.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
That's a valid point because you can easily switch the language. That is just a functionality, but immediately you will start the streaming. You will get the streaming, the voice in Tamil language or any language, English, French, whatever, Telugu, Kannada. Yeah. So these are the other applications which are using Kafka. Tesla company is also using Kafka in their website. Bosch. Okay. So Disney Hotstar, I told you, right? PayPal, Walmart, generally DB. So almost everything. These are few examples which we have for Kafka. Okay. So that's all for today. Any question in this, I'll be happy to answer. Any single doubt, any question which you think like it is not clear. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes. Now it's closed. Screen is closed.
Okay. Let me try sharing it again. But meanwhile, you tell me if you have any query in this. I hope you are able to see now.
Yeah. I can see it now. No queries. It's just an introduction about Kafka. It was too good. I can able to follow you easily. No queries as of now.
Okay. So
The only thing is, around for almost 2.5 years, I was not into IT field, so some technologies is very new.
yeah.
Totally, I was out of the box, so it will take some time for me to get into it. But it's not a problem.
Yeah, no, I have no issues with that, Jagdish. You take your time, you digest these things. I'll help you out. Don't hesitate to stop me. Okay. Whenever you think like this thing is not clear to me, just stop me then and there, and I'll be happy to explain you. So I'm just summarizing whatever we have learned so far. First is, what is messaging system? This is the first thing we saw. Okay. Then what are the types of messaging systems? So there are two types of messaging system, point to point, and two types of messaging system, point to point and
Pops up.
pops up. Right. Then we discussed why Kafka. Okay. Because it is very fast, throughput is very good. It can handle huge amount of data. It can process the data very fast. Okay. And then what is Kafka? You saw. So in that we discussed about what are the features of Kafka. Okay. And then what are the applications using Kafka technology? Okay. So these are the things we discussed. We use many terms like robust. So you should be aware of this thing. Scalability, durability, okay. What is performance? So these are the things. So just try to digest these things.
Yes.
Read about it. I have already recorded this session, so I'll try to share it. If its size is not big, I'll see through what channel with you. Okay.
You can share it with my drive. I'll just share my drive.
Okay. Okay, that will be good then. So that's a very simple thing. If you digest these things and take the interest, then it will be Kafka is very interesting, to be very frank, and you will love it.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Any other questions apart from this? Yeah. One more thing. Languages which are used. Kafka is built using Java and Scala.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing I would like to tell you that I told you that it was made open source in year 2011. In year 2011, LinkedIn made Kafka open source.
Sapan, do you making any notes? Like you're just writing anything?
Okay, that screen is not visible to you, right? 1 second. One second. Let me know if it is visible now.
Yeah.